intern Sam is a budding film student. He's a film savant, first of all, but then he's a film student at Belmont University. Belmont recently, they recently purchased Watkins Film School. This was probably before you came or right as you were moving to Nashville in 2023, Mariah. How would you steal Sam from Belmont?
Ooh. Well, pause. First question I have is, Sam, did you hear Point of View before me coming on here?
I had not, actually. I had not.
See, there's that data, right?
Yep.
We did a lot of advertising through Belmont. We reached out to a lot of the faculty members there. And, you know, it's funny because it's like, is it working? Is it reaching people? So thank you for being my first litmus test there.
Nice.
So how would I steal Sam for the festival, or how would I steal him for our program here at Vanderbilt?
Program. Yeah.
Program. Okay. Well, you know, I am new, so I don't have a lot of context of what the other programs are like in the area. Starting the festival has been great because I have been reaching out and meeting other faculty members. The Belcourt Theater was fantastic because I know that they work with all of us faculty across the campuses. So they were wonderful in allowing us to have a networking event where we had all the faculty come together and I was able to pitch the festival to them. So I did meet some faculty from Belmont. But what I've been kind of noticing and thinking about and talking with my colleagues about is, one of our challenges is that we're small, right? Our program is small here, but it's also one of our benefits. It's also one of the things that students really, I think, appreciate after they go through the program, is that because it's small, you get to know every single one of us faculty really well.
Yeah.
You get to work on our research projects, and you get to kind of really shape what you want out of the program, because we don't have a specific scaffolding or tracking that we have you do. It's just a 50-50 split between production and studies. And I think students can really shape what kind of experience they want out of it. There's not a lot of requirements of taking certain things in a certain order. So I think the smallness gives us that flexibility.
I like it. I like it, Sam. You got a contact there now.
Sold.
You can keep that in your back pocket just in case things get topsy-turvy across the street. So for people who aren't from the Nashville area, the greater Nashville area, for our international people, shout out to our fans in Senegal. Shout out to our fans in Nigeria, Denmark, Spain, the UK, Canada, Mexico showing up, India showing up big. For you folks that you don't know the area that well, Vanderbilt and Belmont are basically across the street from one another. And so that's why I really asked her that, because the proximity is so close, and here they are competing in this creative space with one another.
They're sharing
and
the creative space.
Well, and yeah, and it's funny you say that though, but
I think maybe they are competing a little bit, Nick, but but they're sharing too. They're sharing too.
Well, and I think the really interesting thing about that was that me coming from a space that had one major university in the town that I lived in, I came from Wilmington, North Carolina. UNCW is where I taught, and that's the big school there. There's some community colleges in the area. And then coming here and knowing that there's a plethora of schools, and I mean, the nickname of the Athens of the South, you know, with the idea that there's so many higher education opportunities in this region, was like, rather than viewing it as like a competitive, what can I do better than you can do, I view it as like this network that needs to be tapped into. And that's like really the genesis of the festival, is like, we're all doing something that's related and similar, but has differences. But how can we connect with each other? How can a Vanderbilt student connect with a Belmont student and possibly work on a project together, and pool their resources rather than trying to compete with their resources? So that's really the heart of where the festival came from and why we started the festival. It wasn't necessarily just for Vanderbilt students. It was for the region and all the students in the region.
And the professors at Belmont, Chris, were like, "Oh, we hear you, Mariah. We're not going to tell our students though, because
yeah." And Sam didn't know. The ones I met were very nice and very excited.
Shout out to Stephanie Silverman and the Belcourt Theater. By the way, they're sitting right there in Hillsborough Village, and that's just sort of, for those listening that aren't from here, that's sort of like right in between these two universities. And I think if you run a festival there or film projects there, you're really going to pull people from those two places to join up, and they might meet each other, to your point, Mariah, just by chance, to work on a project together. And so I really do like the idea that there's this historic independent film house that's sitting right in the middle of these two film schools and
Mm-hmm.
campuses. That's pretty darn cool.
And it's supported by many local benefactors, you know,
Yeah.
and I think
Mm-hmm.
grants and things as well. So it's something that is, like you said, it's historic. It is something that the community has really put their resources into, and I think, Chris, we've seen many a premiere at that theater as well.
many
Mm-hmm.
a premiere.
Yeah, that's right. So
Mm-hmm.
it's awesome. It's something. It's just part of
Yes.
the film community. It's not just a theater.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's such a gem. I mean, not every city has that, you know? So I think when you live here, you kind of forget and you take it for granted. But moving into this city and discovering it was like, whoa, this is a really cool resource. And Allison Inman, who does their education coordinating there, was my first contact. And she just came to one of our faculty meetings to, you know, promote the theater, but also to ask if anybody wanted to do any seminars or anything like that there. And that's where like a light bulb went off for me, is like, she does this at all the campuses. She knows
Yeah.
all the faculty members, you know, and a lot of them from all the different campuses do seminars there. So it was like, there's already this built-in connection. So how can we build upon that connection?
I love it. Shout out to Ashley Inman, and shout out to the Facebook algorithm that put her on my front page when I opened Facebook this morning. True
Nice.
story. Like this morning, I clicked Facebook,
Too
and
funny.
and it was like, you might know this person. Do you want to be friends? I'm like, why are you doing this to me? But how are you doing this to me? I think
There
I
you
know
go.
how. But
Yep.
that's so funny that you brought her up, because just today, she was put right in front of me on the front page
I love it.
to friend or not friend. So I'll let's be friends.